Good day, everybody. It is the 4th of August, 2025, and it's a Monday. So just when I was going to walk out here, a car decided they want to come out here too. I'm at a shopping mall. This is called the, I guess they call it Green City. See that word green down here? It's at, it's at Comena Gorka. And I don't know if all these shops are still here. I think Zara is still here, but it's a pretty big shopping mall, not the biggest in Minsk. Dana Mall is bigger. But anyway, this, yeah, again, that's the hotel where Prigozhin stayed when he was in Belarus. You know, the commander of Wagner. Actually, I was going to go through here. Let me see if I can see. There's a certain type of car, Chinese car, of course. It's not available in the United States, and they do have quite a bit here in. Is this a Porsche? I guess that's a Porsche. I don't know. Doesn't look like a Porsche, but yeah. Anyway, Citroen. But I'll see if I can find the car. It's I think it's BYD, and it's that might be one right here. Let me see. It's just another Porsche. This might be it. It might be the most sold. No, that's something close. I think that one's made in Belarus. This is a Morris Mini. Here is a Buick Lada, Russian car, Volkswagen. But anyway, trying to find, just when I wanted to find one, I don't think I can find one, but it's the best priced for quality electric car on the planet, and the United States put such high tariffs. I think first Donald Trump put massive tariffs on it, just like he did trying to ruin Huawei. You know, Donald Trump, I guess his theory, Donald Trump's theory is to make America first, you have to destroy everybody else. So he's trying to destroy everybody else. And here's one of those cars right here. So this is the best electric, not the best in quality necessarily, but when you consider everything, price and quality, it is the best electric car made. And it's made in China, and I guess you don't see them in America. So that's why I thought I'd show you guys here. I'll tell you what, it looks like maybe the mirrors goes in automatically. I don't know. Maybe somebody moved it in. Another electric car here. Toyota. So anyway, there it is. I guess they have quite a few models. I don't know what year this is, but I had to show that to you guys. Here's a BMW, of course. Hey, it looks very similar if you ask me. But this one's just a lot cheaper. Wow, incredible, huh? So people, we can get into some news here. Yesterday I was kind of a little bit off, so my video, you know, I get distracted. I'm walking around and looking at everything, and so my videos don't come out quite so good. At one point I was a little bit Joe Biden-ish there. I was getting onto something and had to tell you guys some pre-information, and so I lost track of what I was talking about. Anyway, look at how nice the grass is done here. Whoa, gosh, these cars are everywhere. Every time I go anywhere, there's a car waiting here. Look at this, everything is empty except where I'm walking. What's this, a Tesla here? I don't know. Is that what this symbol is? I don't really even know anymore, you know? Haven't been in the States, but I've seen Teslas here, and I'm not into this kind of thing, so I don't know. I don't think that's a Tesla. That's a Russian car. Somebody from Russia. Must be a Russian model, maybe. Or maybe is that a... I have no idea. But Donald Trump says that everything that America has is better. It's bigger. It's better. He must be from Texas or something. Everything's bigger and better. I have a good friend here. The guy that flew me on the airplane, he has a Cadillac, by the way. And here's a white Cadillac. He's got a black Cadillac. He likes everything America, I think. I don't know how good are Cadillacs now. But let's get into some news here. and lots of things, lots of little things. More stuff about Donald Trump. I'll tell you what, everybody's getting a snow job from that guy. He's nothing but giving snow jobs, lying here, he's lying there, exaggerating. It's just, there's just no end to that from Donald Trump. It's another BMW. I guess they like BMWs. It's another one right over here. And there's one right there. So, right next to that is a Chinese car, a Geely. I don't know if they're made in Belarus as well. Another BMW. But remember, they're all poor here in Belarus. They can't afford this kind of stuff. Another Geely. I don't know if it's the same. That's also a Chinese car. Russian car. Another Geely. Guess they're all over the place. I tell you what, I don't even know how I can do videos. I'm having to dodge cars and bicycles and people all over the place. And here I am, and look at this parking lot. Practically nothing going on, but when there is, it happens to be right where I'm at. It's very weird. So now let me go mingle. Everybody going up for walks out here. I don't know where they're going, to be honest with you. I think I need another selfie stick. This thing's not holding up very well. Okay. I was just talking about economics. Let me just add a little bit to that right now. Richard Wolff, he's a well-known economist. I like Jeffrey Sachs as well. I seem to like a lot of economists. Dr. Professor Paul Craig Roberts is also a very favorite of mine. He was in during the Carter administration as well as the Ronald Reagan administration. They call him the father of Reaganomics. Also a very brilliant guy, and he'll probably second everything that all these other guys say, such as Jeffrey Sachs and Richard Wolff. So Richard Wolff, he says that Trump's tariffs are costing America jobs, and he said America is gone. He said it is gone. The West is gone. I mean, for the most part, it's absolutely true, as that we all are watching Asia. In large part, of course, China is on a huge, huge role, and Donald Trump, as you see, he's trying to do everything to destroy other economies all around the world. That's what the whole thing is about the tariffs, is to destroy everybody else. At least he thinks he's going to try to do that. He thinks that everybody wants to send everything to the United States. The United States is a big market. A lot of people, they have a lot of the, the world's reserve currency, so they can be using that. And for the most part, it's just a bunch of fake money. Not that much is really made in America. Not that much when you compare it to China. Makes me wonder. I don't know who has more. Is it the United States or Russia? And Russia's not a huge producer either. The biggest, of course, is China, and after China is India. I mean, but the United States, you have to ask yourself, what are they producing except for weapons for the most part? They have financial transactions. So they get a lot of money from financial transaction, sending money from one place to the next. And then they have the world's reserve currency. And just think what happens when that disappears, as Donald Trump, I think he's even said that. He said on a couple of occasions, he said if the United States loses their status as having the world's reserve currency, it will be as catastrophic as a world war to the United States. It's because they are cheating everybody else on Earth, practically. I don't know why she was waiting. So, okay, but I was going to start off this talking about this Sydney Sweeney, and of course this is all, I guess you could say, when you're looking at the fall of Rome, the collapse of Rome and a lot of empires, you see a lot of this decadence that floats into society. And this started probably quite a while ago, but it started picking up during the Clinton times and a little bit, and then Obama times big time, and then Joe Biden, he accelerated that. And it's like they're trying to push, and like Obama, he was saying that everybody should have gay friends. He wants everybody to be gay. I guess maybe to be like me, he's probably trying to say. And I don't think Big Mike is actually a man. A lot of people say that. Unlike Brigitte Macron, that's pretty much way too much evidence to show that that was somebody who transitioned, and it was actually Brigitte's brother, unfortunately. And biologically, it seems to be apparent that Macron's wife is not his wife. It might be his husband. He might be the... Well, he seems to be a man as well. So I guess they're just two homosexuals. One of them transitioned, and I don't know. As far as I can tell, she probably wears a wig. I don't know what her real hair looks like. Maybe she's got a big bald spot. I got kind of one back here too, but I'm not trying to hide it necessarily. I just have long hair. I tie it back, and I don't know. I don't even know how big that is. I gotta, I can't see the back of my head, so I don't know. Probably bigger than it was before I started growing my hair out. Something tells me that. I don't know what. But anyhow, let's talk about Sydney Sweeney and her jeans commercial. This Sydney Sweeney, I think she's some kind of a young actress, and I guess she had some. She was very good, I guess, in some of her like series or something like that. I can't remember what the names of them were. I didn't even know who she was, to be honest with you. And anyway, she made some commercial, and then I saw that commercial. I think they played it on RT, and then I was like shocked to find out it's racist. I said, what the heck? How is that racist? They're talking about her nice jeans, and the liberal Democrat transsexual lesbian women are all pissed off. They had something, what was this, rage against something or other, I don't know. And somebody was interviewing a lot of these people and asking them what they think about this Sydney Sweeney thing with her jeans. And of course, they were all told to say that it's somehow genetic racism or something like that. So they're all angry, and they said because they should have picked a black girl to do that. It's like, what? I mean, it's kind of like Tyler Fisher when he's a comedian, and he couldn't get a job anywhere before. He had to start out on his own because everybody said he has to be black. You cannot get a job as a comedian unless you're black. But I even know about this. When was that? Back in it's in the 80s. I had to go into the army because I was trying to get some jobs. Like one, I was because I worked in Alaska for a while. I worked with fish, like lots of salmon, different types of salmon, coho salmon, red salmon, same thing. Dogs, which are what is that called now? Anyway, I can recognize it. That has like a golden colors with spots on the tail, and then there's silver salmon, which is the opposite, I guess, because one has gold, one has silver on it. And there's the coho, and it's a long time. It's 1980s, but anyway, I had to, when I used to unload salmon boats a lot, I had to, like with me and another guy, the whole entire day, you're sitting there, and the fish, you're in a big boat, like a maybe 40-footer, and it's filled with fish, and it takes you the whole day. And they send this little thing down in the boom, and you got to take particular types of fish. So you look at them, and you got to tell which one is which kind, and pick it up and throw it in this little basket thing, and obviously try not to make any mistakes. And most of the time, that was in I don't know if that was silver salmon time, but maybe I gotta walk over there. This is too loud here. I gotta dodge all these people. But anyway, you had to be able to recognize these fish. And of course, I knew a little bit about the quality as well. You got to look at the fins. You look at the eyes. If the sockets, if the eye is sunk into the socket a little bit, it's a sign of it not being fresh. Most all of those were fresh, obviously, because they were just caught. And But so if you work on a tender is what, when you get a bigger boat. Matter of fact, that probably was a tender. So you did have to pay attention. And the smaller boats, they set a limit on which size of boats can actually fish, because you don't want to have these great big huge boats fishing, because they'll suck up all the fish really fast with bigger nets and everything. So only little boats, so that, and when a quota is reached, then of course it shuts the season down right there. Sometimes it doesn't last very long. So when you reach the quota, bam, the season's over. And I'm talking about Alaska. And then, but anyway, you got to know the different types of fish. And I was applying for a job as a fish buyer. I think it was a person, it's a long time ago exactly what it was, but anyway, you have to identify the fish. That was part of that job, the main part of the job. And I couldn't get it because they told me I wasn't black. I have to be black, and then I can get a job. Probably a woman is all right as well. But in those days, you could probably be Chinese and also get the job very easy. But then they started being racist against the Chinese, of course. I don't know, maybe that happened during the Donald Trump time. And like now, to get into universities, if you're a white male, you're out, you're not going to get it. If you're Chinese, you're even worse off. I think you're even worse off if you're Chinese, I think, in America. So, but you'd think that's why a lot of Chinese are coming over here to Belarus and to China, because they're welcome over here. And it makes you wonder, there's a lot of Chinese. It makes you wonder if they're going to start saying, there's too many of you guys, get out of here now. I think we better put a quota on this. I don't know. It's probably a matter of time, and people maybe start to get pissed off. But it's not anywhere near that right now. Of course, we get a lot of Africans here as well. And Lukashenko, I believe, he, I don't know how many, was 150,000 Pakistanis he let come now into Belarus. And he's put out something just the other day that it's not just that everybody can come here. And he says that he is monitoring it, and he has a personal interest, he said, to watch what all of the, people like even me, what all of us immigrants are doing here. And we have to be working. He was saying that's the main thing. You can't come here and just get some kind of benefits like me. Actually, I do get kind of benefits. I get very little. I'm not complaining, because I didn't grow up here and work here for like many years like I did in the United States. The United States doesn't give me crap. They won't give me crap. Basically, they say, get the friggin' crap, kick you in the ass and say, get out of here. You've served your interest to the United States. You served in the military for 7 years. You worked here maybe 11 years altogether. We're not going to give you anything, And maybe I think whenever I am eligible, I think in another year, I think it's very little. And Belarus gives me 200 rubles. I don't even remember, what is that in, it's like maybe $70. And I worked 5 months. I worked 5 months here. Sure, I bought property and all that sort of thing. But they give you something here. They actually care about people. It's like, what the heck? They actually care? This isn't the United States. You serve your usefulness. You're lucky if you're getting some sort of pension in the United States. Because I'm just waiting, if somebody's going to do some Mitt Romney on you, or some of these things like some of these, I'm sorry, the records are all destroyed in the World Trade Center Tower number 7. So, we don't have any records. We're not going to give you crap. Get lost. Things like that, I don't have any idea. I didn't really trust that system, so I got my, I was seeing the writing on the wall already a while before that time. Anyway. But it's not like I can live on 200 rubles either, but it's more of a gesture, and I'm not going to ever actually ask for anything more from them. Somebody probably waiting for somebody. So let's keep going. I was on Sweeney Jeans here. And anyway, this company, was it called American Eagle? They say that it's just about pants, but all these overweight, ugly, fat lesbian women with short hair are insisting that it's racist, that they meant the other jeans. Even though the commercials is about jeans, they meant the other jeans. It's secret. It's kind of secret. It's very secret stuff that they're trying to promote white racism. Oh, come on, America is going crazy. There's just too much crazy crap over there. I remember back in the Obama days when he was starting to push this stuff about Ferguson, Missouri, and was it CNN or somebody going around interviewing people, and they were trying to make it out to be some sort of a racial thing. And matter of fact, a lot of people probably still think it is, but everybody they interviewed, was saying it's about police violence. It has nothing to do with any race. Well, white people and black people, there was no fighting with them, together. But then by the time, some years came up, they were able to create something with the Black Lives Matter sort of stuff. I think that was the beginning of Black Lives Matter. And of course, started by Obama and, what do you know, George Soros and another guy. And then they had their two bankers in California, where they were laundering or doing something with all this money, passing it out. And that was all just a big, huge scam. It's just like Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton's scam against Trump. And I'm not a big fan of Trump, obviously. And, you hear, I'll be bragging about him here on this time too. But obviously they were cheating against Trump, big time. And, maybe that's why, it's sort of strange. It's like, if you think about what the Nazis were doing to the Jews back in World War II, and now the Jews are doing that to the Palestinians, even worse, So it's kind of like some people that have been oppressed, they turn out to be even worse oppressors later on. So Donald Trump, when all this corruption from Obama and Hillary Clinton and all that, and now Donald Trump, he's going in with that stuff too. He's going after all these countries. He's going to destroy the United States, probably more so than he is going to destroy the BRICS. It's just like everybody, all these countries, they were trying to get a strategic defeat of Russia, which I think for the most part that means an economic defeat of Russia. That's probably what it's more all about. And they've made Russia stronger. And I think Donald Trump's actions are going to work the other way around too, because I notice now that South Africa is saying, well, we're going to shift within, and we're going to start. It was Ramaphosa, the leader of South Africa. Donald Trump was going after him, and he said, well, we're going to shift, and we're going to be selling our products and trading within Africa now, more so than we ever were before, because the United States is cutting us out, yet we'll still try to be friends with the United States. And I think Brazil is probably the same way. And Russia is the perfect example of that. Russia was already doing that. They're trading with the world. They're trading with India. They're trading with China big time after they were dumped, so to speak, by the EU. And the EU, obviously, as you all can see right now, after this Ursula von der Leyen and Donald Trump trade deal that went on, it wasn't a trade deal at all. It was a slaughter of the economies of Europe. You can see what that's all about. So Russia knew what was going on. And I think they all know what's going on. So using Russia as an example, that's what they're all going to do. And Donald Trump, he virtually destroyed Europe, and he's trying to destroy Europe even more. It's like when they're down, you kick them even harder. You kick them even harder. Kick them when they're down. I guess that's Donald Trump's theory, And he's trying to bring Russia to its knees, obviously. As a lot of people use that term, poking the bear and then bring Russia to its knees. And I don't think it's going to work. And he's trying to act as if he's in charge of what's going on in Ukraine. And a lot of people are coming out and talking and saying the only one that's going to decide that is going to be Vladimir Putin. Well, for the most part, Vladimir Putin and those that support him within Russia. The Russian people aren't going to be taking any of this crap. It's really weird. You can look back at what happened in Stalingrad and whatnot, when they use everything, absolutely everything against the Russians. Well, who turned out victorious? It was the Russians that turned out victorious. Donald Trump himself, he said, you don't go to war against Russia. He said that months ago. So what is Donald Trump doing? He's going to war against Russia. What an idiot. Somehow I think they turned a switch in Donald Trump's brain. I don't know, they turned it to the off switch, so now those 5 or 6 brain cells that he has are now not working anymore. I don't know. A lot of people are criticizing his terrible economics. Only time will tell. And he's saying America's making billions of dollars, we're making billions. And I guess the statistics show something much different. So, as Richard Wolff said, as I already put out here. So anyway, Donald Trump, he said he likes this Sweeney because a lot of rumors, and this is probably why they're going after her and saying all this stuff, racism this and racism that, is because the rumor has it that she's Republican. So the Democrats, liberals, they said, ha, now let's get her. And so Donald Trump says she's fine. I like her now. Yeah, anyway. So all these fat lesbians are gonna, I don't know, they're feasting. And I guess what was this thing? Rage Against the something? They were smashing watermelons or something. I don't know if you guys ever see those videos, you know? And they're, Donald Trump! And yelling, and Trump! You know, there's so much I don't like about Donald Trump. You know, I tell you what, particularly that he is accomplice, of course, in trying to kill all these people from Gaza so he can go in there and make huge amounts of money with his Riviera of the Middle East for Jared Kushner and for him, you know. So Donald Trump, he's never liked the Muslims. You know, it's kind of strange. You don't, like, what did Jesus tell you? Know them by their fruits. And you don't have to listen to anything that Donald Trump says. You just have to look at his actions. And his actions will show you, ever since he's been in, that he hates Muslims. He hates the Iranians. He hates the Arabs. I think he hates all Muslims. You know, I don't have anything against Muslims. I don't have anything against any people of any groups. You know, as long as they're not out to hurt anybody else. You know, and they tried to convince all of us back in, what was the 80s and 90s and stuff, that all the Muslims want to strap bombs to us, to themselves, and come and kill the Christians. And of course, that's completely far from the truth. Matter of fact, the Muslims even like the Jews very, very much. They just don't like Zionist Judaism, which tries to exterminate all the people from Palestine and whatnot. Anyway, a lot of things are, everybody's been mistold and misinformed about a lot of things. So they are today too. Benjamin Netanyahu is doing a very good job of misinforming. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Let's see. Max Blumenthal of the Gray Zone. He was on Going Underground. He's with that guy. I think he used to be on a regular show, Afrezjani. I think the guy's Iranian. I'm not positive, but has a very good show. And Max Blumenthal was there. Max Blumenthal. Oh no, Max Blumenthal is a Jew. He's a Jew. Oh my God. Oh my God. But Max Blumenthal, if all Jews were like Max Blumenthal, this world would be such a fantastic place. Max Blumenthal, he is a guy that seeks the truth and he seeks justice. Very compassionate person. He is like my favorite investigative journalist. And I hope somebody sends this to Max Blumenthal and we can get him. I will go on From the Other Side, again, where I used to go on with Dave. I told Dave, I'll come on again if you can get Max Blumenthal. So hopefully we can get Max Blumenthal to go on the show, well, virtually, from the other side. Hey, I'd love it if he comes. I'd really love to meet Max Blumenthal in person, if I could. Matter of fact, you know what? I didn't even want to walk this far. This is another little shopping area here. Let me see, I'll just walk around in here. Anyway, is this a Tesla over here? I don't know. Tell me. Oh no, I'm gonna get hit. So I guess I can't go that way. Let's go this way. Okay, Max Blumenthal. He said that most all corporate reporters, maybe he even said all of them, corporate report, you know, from corporate news, reporters from the corporate news, are all working for intelligence, the intelligence services from different countries. And what was that? I don't know if that was, I get all these operations mixed up. Operation Mockingbird or whatever the deal was, you know, back in the old days, and the CIA and all this. And everybody knows Anderson Cooper was CIA from the Vanderbilt family. You know, he's a super mega rich, probably billionaire family. I mean, a lot of these people were always in the intelligence. And if they're not in intelligence, they work for the intelligence people. Maybe I'll walk inside of there. That's a building center over there, Mila. I think that's a German firm, Mila, if I remember properly. And this, Burger King, Domino's Pizza, there you go. Domino's Pizza, Corona, that is a Dutch supermarket firm over there. Oh, maybe, gosh, how do I get over there? I guess I gotta go this way. I don't want to take the long way around here. So, oh, there's a furniture place there. Okay, Max Blumenthal. And he says that these reporters, they They wait and they take instructions from the intelligence agencies. And I guess it's worse than I even thought it was. I knew that there were a lot of them involved with that, and apparently most all of them. But it's also strange. You had some, like even some of these ones from reporters from CNN and all of these other places, they get slaughtered by the Israelis too if they ever, get too close. It was I remember there was one called Ben Wiederman back in the old days, and Ben Wiederman was killed by the Israelis in there for reporting on that stuff. They'll kill any reporters. They kill it. Israel they can get away with killing anybody, absolutely anybody that they feel harms their cause, reporters or anything. How do they kill all of those people from Hezbollah and their families, and very nice people, I guess, those Israelis. Okay, let's see. He said he was saying that Max Blumenthal, a Jew, was saying that military intervention is needed against Israel because nothing else is going to stop them. Obviously, Donald Trump is going to stop that too, because Donald Trump is very much in favor of all of this genocide as well. Even if he doesn't come right out and say it, he says he wants to stop the killing and all that. But then why doesn't Donald Trump stop the killing? Why does he keep giving Israel more and more bombs? All the bombs that Israel wants, Donald Trump sends them to them. And it's just not just the Senate. Like Lindsey Graham, he loves to see any kind of killing because he's heavily involved with the military-industrial complex. That's all of his donors, basically. So the more killing, the more bombs, the happier that Lindsey Graham is. And everybody knows that. He's designated as a terrorist in Russia, by the way. I think he's the worst American. Matter of fact, he might even be the only American terrorist as far as the Russians are concerned. Lindsey Graham, a really terrible piece of work, that guy. So anyway, Max Blumenthal says the world has to get into an intervention. And the president of Ireland, he called also for military intervention against Israel. And Steve Witkoff, I just mentioned yesterday, he was there, and he says, there is no starvation in Gaza. That is all a myth, because Israel told me. Israel showed me the places that they made sure there was no starvation. They took me to those places. So all of that footage of hundreds and hundreds of kids running and scooping up, from a broken bag of flour, trying to scoop up the last little teaspoons of flour, that's all made up. That's all a lie. All these skinny kids. And they showed that one skinny person there, and that's what Israel is using. They had, because Hamas filmed it. I don't know, it was a very bad judgment on Hamas's side, but they filmed this supposedly Israeli captive. He looked like an Arab. He looked more like an Arab than the Arabs look like an Arab, But I guess he was Israeli, and he looked very, very skinny. Obviously, he's malnourished and all that. But I think and then they showed like the arm of some Hezbollah person, which has much whiter skin. This guy that is a Israeli, supposedly, he's got darker skin, even though he's living underground, not getting any light. He's got darker skin than the Arabic person's arm that's coming out. But it doesn't tell you anything. Of course, they're just trying to create a whole story about seeing an arm. So I don't really know. I'm not gonna, but they're trying to say, see, that person has enough food. Well, maybe that person does. I don't have any idea. Who was that person that was handing this guy some food or whatever the deal is? Maybe the guy was on a hunger strike. How do I know? How do we know? How does anybody know? I don't know. In any case, so Israel's trying to use that but I think, I don't think it's working. A lot of the people there are really pissed off, and I guess they have like 500 security people that worked in the Mossad and top generals, and they're all coming out, and they made some like video and a plea for Netanyahu to stop this war and to stop killing all these people, to stop starving these people. And they're holding up all these trucks. And somebody said recently 20,000 trucks, but that's probably, they're not holding up 20,000 trucks, I don't think. Maybe they did over the long term. Maybe they did, but I guess there's 6,000 trucks trying to get in, and Israel let in 12. They let in 12 trucks. So, whoop-de-doo, celebrate. Why is it here? Look at this. Wherever I'm at. I don't know. I gotta go somewhere. It's like there's a Tesla now. That's a Tesla, right? Okay. Next to a Chinese car. Over there. And this over here is a Subaru, I believe. Man, you see, look at, there's a Chinese car. And there's a Russian car. And there's a BMW again. Damn, BMWs are everywhere. This is probably a BMW too, but somebody stole the emblem off the top of it. So, let me keep going. Let's see. So, the leader of Ireland says they need a military intervention, and he's quoting Chapter 7 of the United Nations Charter. So, and of course, everybody says, a lot of people are saying that Donald Trump is complicit in the genocide, enabling the genocide, and he certainly is. Donald Trump doesn't have, strange, he wants to stop this one war in Ukraine, but he doesn't talk so much as he should about all of these people dying, and I guess they're trying to make everybody think that it is all fake, that nobody is dying from hunger in Gaza, even though, what was it, yesterday, 12 people died of hunger alone, just of hunger. I think most of them are probably children. So let's see. I don't know, that's the really disgusting thing about Donald Trump. He finds certain people that he likes and he believes them. So I guess anybody can fool Donald Trump, and of course all you got to do is flatter him. Like Zelensky knows that, so he's coming up with all kinds of compliments. You know, Rutte knew that. I mean, a lot of people noticed that. They should have noticed it even many years ago, before the first time Donald Trump ran, when Vladimir Putin said that he is a good and capable businessman, and Donald Trump, after that, fell in love with Vladimir Putin, at least to a certain extent, where he's had the kid gloves to a certain extent on, and now, you know, of course, he's offered a lot of money through the corporations and stuff, so he's the honeymoon is over, I guess. So Al Jazeera, obviously they're the ones, I guess, that misquoted. They said 20,000 aid trucks. Like I said, maybe it was over the course of time, but it's more likely that 6,000 is more accurate, because when you see 6,000 trucks is a lot of trucks. I see them lined up, you know, on the border between like Lithuania and Latvia and Belarus. You know, you're driving and you drive and drive and drive for a long time, and there's all these trucks because those countries are trying to, block the borders to try to punish Belarus. And it's the same thing. Maybe that's where they learned it from in Israel. They saw that how these countries are supposedly punishing Belarus, so they said, well, we'll punish these people too. You know, wherever we can, we're going to punish them. You know, so, and there was a meeting, I guess, where Israel thanked the U.S. for support against Iran. Iran has said that there was a lot of devastation on those nuclear places. They didn't say that it was, Donald Trump said obliterated, but Donald Trump was saying obliterated even before the Iranians even knew. So, but I think there was one that was hardly harmed at all in the United States. I guess it was a general even admitted that they didn't really bomb it at all because it was too deep. So obviously they still have uranium enrichment there. So, and it's now come out how much money the United States gave to Israel in 2024. It was $17.9 billion. You know, like there's the $4 billion that's always guaranteed and has been for decades that they get no matter what, always. And, you know, Israel never has to pay any of this money back. So thank you, American taxpayer. You know, Israel is a very well-off country thanks to well, actually it's all the world's taxpayers, because everybody's paying for that, for Israel. So, the American Conservative, I guess it's a magazine, they stated that Russia's victory is inevitable, so Trump should stop sending weapons and money and prolonging the war, dragging it out, they said. You know? And, of course, that's the objective. And obviously Donald Trump wants to keep it dragging out, because that's money for the military-industrial complex. And obviously, what's his old name? Lindsey Graham, he absolutely loves it. Look at a British car. You don't see many British cars around here. It's not a Land Rover, but it's a baby Rover. It's a mini baby Rover. Look at the little thing. Look at how cute it is. Oh, look at this one here. Might get a ticket. It's probably, I'll bet you it's parked there. Look at this. Got a flat tire. Makes you wonder if they get tickets. Looks like an abandoned vehicle. But they have the license plate right here. Jeez. It's been here a while. I didn't think they could do that in Belarus. This is a Chinese car here. Okay. So dragging it out. And some, let's say, economists say that Trump's claim, like I was saying it already earlier, that the U.S. is getting rich because of the tariffs, they seems to have no basis in truth. Because when you have these tariffs, you know where that money comes from. You know where the money gets sucked away from. The money gets sucked away from the people that buy the products. So when these people send all this stuff to the United States, then the American people have to pay more for these things. And there's certain things, like I guess there's a lot of pharmaceuticals, I think, that come from Germany or from the EU, and the United States doesn't produce them. The United States has a lot of pharmaceuticals as well. And then, of course, the cheaper ones, of course, are from India and from Mexico. But anyway, when these things are coming to the United States, everybody's going to have to pay more, thanks to old Donald Trump. So American people are not getting rich at all. I don't know. Maybe the government is bringing in some money. Do you think Donald Trump is going to be passing all that money out to the money that he's sucking out of their pockets by making them pay more money for everything? Do you think he's going to be handing it out back to those people and say, well, here's the profit we got from that? And then it makes you wonder, what's the point of that anyway? And economists have even said it in that way, just like I just told you. Wow. Okay. The UN is complaining about Israel's deliberate, because they are deliberate, and Israel has always, oh, we're sorry, when they bomb like the Catholic Church a week or so ago, the American Catholic Church, and whatever. Anyway, but the UN is pissed off because of the deliberate killing of aid workers in Gaza, and they do it like nearly every single day. How many United Nations schools and things have they bombed? It's just endless. But just, I guess, they killed a lot of aid workers in the past days here, that of course you're not going to hear about over there. The United Nations reported that 1,300 Palestinians have been killed while they're accessing this food aid. So they're coming to get aid, unarmed civilians. A lot of them are young boys, and they get bombed and killed. And I was even putting out yesterday, as you all know, that there are American contractors. They're from the United States. They're from, it's not Blackwater, but they're from some of these agencies, and they are killing Palestinians with machine guns. They're machine gunning like boys down and things like that. So, maybe they find the ones that love Israel. So, and that is a fact. Like I said, a Green Beret had reported that some days ago, that he saw American soldiers shooting and killing Palestinians. And of course, he was disgusted. He's on video testimony for that, by the way. Yeah. Okay, yesterday, when I was also saying that there's hostages on both sides. Hamas has hostages of, Israeli hostages. And I told you, and this is absolutely true, and it's been true for many, many decades, that the Israelis have lots of Palestinians in prisons. A lot of them, some of them are even anally raped. They take broomsticks and shove it up their backside and things like that. They do a lot of terrible things, and a lot of them are starved as well. When you see them come out, they're always very skinny, maybe even skinnier than all the Russian refugees that come back when the Ukrainians release them. Unlike the Ukrainian ones, when they're all nice and fat when they go back to Ukraine. But anyway, so France is also saying, I just mentioned it yesterday, and I guess also France mentioned it yesterday, also that there's hostages on both sides. And then Israel came out and said, that's not true. We don't have Palestinian hostages. And I guess what their argument to that is they're terrorists. So when they go into these villages and these ladies, old ladies, are selling bread, or young ladies or whatever, mostly they want to get the ones that are childbearing ages, the women, and then they want to get the boys and the children, and then they take those and they make those hostages. So they just get these people. There's a lot of really nasty and dirty stuff. When you just think, if this stuff ever gets out, all of the terrible, terrible crimes that Israel has been perpetrating for many, many decades, you're going to be astounded, because I've been hearing about them. I heard about them long, long time ago. You know, even things worse than you can imagine, even after they're dead. A lot of time they go and they dig up the graves because they have a thing, and they measure what their skin color is. And when there's Israelis that have skin cancer and they need a skin graft, well, actually, I think it's before they're even dead, they cut the skin off of them, and then they do the burial. They don't even let the family go there. And then sometimes, I guess, the family has seen the bodies, and they said, like, on their back, their skin is all taken off because they're using their skin as skin grafts on Israelis that have skin cancer. You know, when they find them, the Palestinians with light enough skin. Anyway, there's a lot of things that are going on like that. And but as I say, you know, even if, just say, a boy throws a rock at a tank, you know, that does not seem to like being starved, you know, I mean, why do they not like being starved? It doesn't make any sense to me. You know, why don't they like being treated worse than dogs? They should love that. In any case, so one of these boys or something, when they throw a rock, you know, then the Israelis take him and they put him in prison and put him in detention, make them hostages for many, many years. And that's exactly what happened on October 7th on 2023, is that Hamas was trying to get Israeli hostages and exchange them for some of these hostages, these Palestinian hostages, the women and the children, and to trade them. And I even put out yesterday, and it's what's going on. There's court cases right now. Why do these people are all here? I want them to see what I'm up to. So, you interrupted me, you guys. Where was I? That's what I said about earlier when I started this video. You get distractions. But in any case, what these people were doing, the Hamas, they were trying to get people to trade. And then what's coming out right now is a lot of Israeli soldiers, you know, their sworn testimony. Probably, I don't know if they swear on a Bible or the Toran or who knows what. Not the Koran, the Torah, excuse me. And they're said that they were told not to. Oh, there's one of those cars again. They were told not to patrol the border on that day. So in other words, there's obviously, and some people there's even records of a woman calling her daughter and telling her to leave, get away from there. It's going to be an attack or whatever, before the attack started, because she knew about it. Maybe she worked for the office of Benjamin Netanyahu or whatever. So they knew about this. This was all a planned thing. And it might have also been planned. Oh, it's Chevrolet. Look at that. Not even bad looking. And here is what is that one? I guess that's a Chinese model. Another Chinese model here. But anyway, so this was all planned, obviously. October 23rd and the Hannibal Directive. And it was probably also planned, I was going to say, to kill Israelis. If any Israelis seem that they're going to be captured and taken hostage by the Hamas, I am nearly positive, and I don't know if anybody's going to testify to this, that these people, they were probably told to kill everybody. That's the Hannibal Directive. And it's already come out. A lot of people already know this. And I don't even know, this stuff is going to be so embarrassing for Israel that they are not even going to allow this to be circulated outside of Israel itself, just like this testimony that I just told you about that came out in this court, that these soldiers were told not to patrol the border with Gaza from 5:20 in the morning, I think it was, till 9:30 in the afternoon. In other words, to allow this attack to occur. So anyway, I said that yesterday, and I hope you guys like that information. I mean, I'm not saying you like the information, but I like getting the information or so. And other people are going to be probably talking about this. I think Jimmy Dore, he's not afraid to talk about this stuff if it ever comes his way. and I'm sure that Max Blumenthal probably knows about it. He might even be right now just waiting and checking on this stuff. Maybe he's already put it out. That's why I like Max Blumenthal. He's not afraid to tell the truth. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Anyway, thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.